Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is Paul, and God has qualified me to be your hip hop relationship and recovery coach. And I'm bringing to you another Kick Your Butt Out episode. As usual, y'all, before I get off into the content of the day, I have to say what I always say. And I strongly encourage you to get this into your thought processes, right? So that you can incorporate this into your lives. And that is, if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. And that, my friends, is a promise. All right, let's get off into what we want to talk about today. Again, I'm appreciative of this podcast and this opportunity, honor, and a privilege to be able to do this, because this not only speaks to the audience, it speaks to me as well, because I remember years ago when someone had prophesied over me and talked about what God plan was for my life. And one of the things that he said is the messages that you give, they're going to be for you first. And so I want you all to understand, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to us. And one of the things that my desire is for us to be able to get to a place and in a position where we look at how these episodes and subject matter applies to us, and what are some of the things and the things that we can do and the ways that we could do them to get past these things, overcome these things, kick the butt out, right? So that we can walk in our greatness and be the light that God says that we are. So anyway, that's the goal and the purpose behind Kick Your Butt Out. All right. So today I want to have a conversation around how we have some qualities about ourselves, but we're using them backwards. I remember when I first came into this new way of living, this recovery life, God talked to me about, he said, some of those gifts that you were using when you were using, he said, I don't want you to stop those things. I just want you to turn them around for my glory. And that's one of the things that I've been doing over these years. So anyway, I want to mention three qualities that we have, yet we're using them backwards. So all of us are motivated, right? All of us know how to be consistent, and all of us know how to be faithful to a thing. Many of us are motivated to do nothing, or using that motivation to do nothing. Many of us are consistently inconsistent, and many of us are faithful. Watch this. We are faithful to people, places, and things that are not faithful to us. And then we wonder why we're going through life empty, unfulfilled, searching, and all of these other messed up things that we're doing in life. So anyway, the title of today's episode of Kick Your Butt Out is You Faithful to It, but... So after the but, I want to ask you this question. You faithful to it, but is it faithful to you? You faithful to this person, but is that person faithful to you? You faithful to this thing, but is that thing faithful to you? And what I mean by is it faithful to you is it assisting you in growing? Is that thing that you're a part of assisting you in growing and leveling up, or being the light that God says that you are? Are the people that you circle yourself around, are they faithful to you from a standpoint of helping you level up in life, or the people, the places, and things? Or I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. Are you a person that's faithful to the circles that you're around from a standpoint of you assisting them in leveling up? If that's not the case, it's a waste of time on both ends. God said it like this. He said it like this. If you can be faithful over a few things, I'll make you rulers over many. Let me break this down for you. Many of us are faithful, but we are faithful to not being faithful over the few things that God put into our trust. He entrusted us with some things that he says, I need you to be faithful to these things. I need you to be faithful to these people. I need you to be faithful to these places. He's entrusted us with these few things, but we are faithful. We have been practicing being faithful with not being faithful. And then we wonder why he won't make us. We throwing that scripture out like it's water. If I can trust you with a few things, I'll make you rulers over many. And we wondering why we haven't gotten to a place where rulers over many is a part of our lives. And it's because we haven't made good on a few things. And so, again, this podcast is designed to say, this particular episode is designed to find out what are some of the things that I need to do or not be doing. Who are some of the people that I need to be around or not be around? What are some of the places that I need to be going or not going so that I can prove that I'm faithful over the few things, and God will release and open up his hand and release the things that the many things that he wants me to be faithful over. So again, we're faithful to people. We're faithful to, some of us are faithful to these men that are it just don't fit. Some of these women out here, you're faithful to these men that it just don't fit. Some of these men out here, you're faithful to these women that just doesn't fit. Again, I want to make sure y'all understand. I'm not telling nobody to go get divorced. I'm not saying none of that. What I'm saying is they have a song. They had an old school song that if it don't fit, don't force it. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. O.J. Simpson, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. So let me say it like this. If it don't fit, you must quit. And why am I saying this? Again, I'm not advocating for divorce. If you in a relationship with someone, I'm going to go deep with this one. If you're in a relationship with someone and what y'all doing ain't fitting and what y'all doing ain't faithful, maybe you might want to make some adjustments and stop being faithful to the things that's causing detriment in your relationship. So again, I'm not on here preaching and practicing divorce. Maybe it's some things that you need to do. You need to learn how to be faithful to some healthier ways in your relationship, some healthier things, some healthier places, some healthier communication with your spouse, right? Learn how to be faithful to that. Make those type of adjustments so that this relationship that you are in, again, could assist one another in growing. That's what I want to talk about. The problem with many of us, one of the reasons why we won't grow is because of the fact that we faithful to pride. We faithful to staying the way that we were. We faithful to arrogance. We faithful to the disrespect. We faithful to our definition. Where I know what you said, God, about love, but I'm gonna love her this way. I know what you said, God, about respect, but I'm gonna respect them this way. We faithful to how we want to design what God says to fit us, and then we wondering why divorce court is on the table. Divorce shouldn't even be on the table in your relationship. It's been on the table in mine, and one of the reasons why I can honestly speak and say the reason why it was there is because I wasn't faithful to what I needed to be doing to cultivate my marriage and love my wife the way that God told me to love my wife. I'm gonna keep it 100. And some of you all out there can understand what it is that I'm talking about. So again, I'm not telling you to divorce. But if y'all relationship has some rocky roads going on in it that's unnecessary, it's maybe because you're being faithful to some stuff, but it's kicking your butt. Learn how to be faithful to some other stuff. And one of the first things that we have to learn how to be faithful to outside of being faithful to our relationship with God is we need to learn how to be faithful to taking care of ourselves. Because like I always say, there's no way in God's land that you're going to be able to give yourself to your wife or your wife to your husband fully in the way that you're supposed to or in the way that they need you from a faithful standpoint if you're not healthy. You're just not going to be able to do it. And so let us first get faithful to taking care of ourselves, doing what we need to do so that we can be healthy. Because if I'm showing up healthy, I'm going to be able to do what faithfully what was given to me to do to my wife, or you all out there with that are wives, you'll be able to do the same thing to your husband. So stop being faithful to the madness and learn how to be faithful to healing and wholeness and hope and all of those wonderful things. Some of us need to stop being, so watch this. Ooh, I got to say this. Some of us have had a bunch of tradition that we grew up with that was practiced in our families as we were growing up, right? And then you got married. Well, let me say this. And you're still faithful to some of those traditions that was around in your family as you were growing up. Here's the problem with continuing to be faithful to some of those traditions in your marriage, because some of those traditions in your marriage is contrary to what your marriage is supposed to be. And many of us don't want to disappoint our families, our mothers and our fathers, or our grandmothers, or whoever it is that started and been upholding the tradition, and we destroying our marriage in the process. He will leave his father and mother and be joined to a wife, and the two shall become one. And so some of you all out there listening to this podcast, some of the troubles that you are going through in your marriage or in your relationships is because you're still faithful to and practicing some of the traditions. I'm not even saying that the traditions are a bad thing. I'm just saying that they don't fit in your marriage. They don't fit in your relationships. They don't, watch this, they don't fit in, I'll get to that part later. I'm gonna leave that right there for a minute. They're not fitting. They don't fit. Some of the traditions that you held on to or you practiced when you was with your friends growing up, you married now. That has to change. Watch this. Watch this. Lots of us who had, our childhood friends, our best friends, and all of those things, we had some things that we were faithful to and practice when we were young and growing up and single, right? We got married, our friends still single, and they're continuing to practice the traditions that we practiced when we were younger and growing up and single. We can't do that no more, though, because we're married. And a lot of times our marriages come second to our friendships from the practicing of the traditions standpoint. And we have to stop that. We have to stop being faithful to everything else over our spouses if we want our relationships to be what they are capable of being. We have to stop that. What am I saying? Some of the family traditions, watch this, some of the family traditions got to go. Some of the family members who won't respect the fact that you can't practice those traditions anymore, they got to go too. Some of the friends got to go. Some of the friends that won't respect the fact that you can't practice those traditions anymore, that you have to be faithful to this new thing, they got to go too, period. Another thing we are faithful to, we'll we'll we be faithful to a thought process that's not conducive to where we want to go. That's totally contrary to where we want to go and who we say that we are. Let me say this. For all you people out there who faithful to I'm doing me, yep. I want to ask you this question. How's that working for you? Because if you living by that thought process, if you faithful to that I'm doing me thought process, I'm willing to guarantee you some other important area of your life is starving because of that being faithful to that thought process. One more time. If you're faithful to the I'm doing me thought process, I'm guaranteeing you some other important area of your life is suffering as a result of it. And so what am I saying? We have to be faithful to a new thought process, because the I'm doing me and it's about me is everybody that I know that use that terminology. Life is not in a healthy place. Let me just say it, for lack of a better word, their lives are not in a healthy place with the I'm doing me and it's about me thought processes. So you got to change that. We have to change that and develop a thought process where we become selfless, where we understand and learn that it's not about me. The bigger picture is that it's other people out there who need me to be in a healthier thought process, saying that how can I support? How can I help? How can I assist you? And I'm only able to do that by faithfully practicing the new thought process. I can't make it no plain than that. Another thing that I want to talk about from you faithful to it, but listen, some of us, I'm Black people, my Black brothers and sisters. Listen, I love some of the traditional holiday season cookouts that our families do. I love it, love it, love it. That food is so delicious. Now, let me make sure that I get this out there. I don't understand for the life of me. Now, wait. I understood back in the slavery days when that's all they had to eat. But bringing it up to contemporary where we got way more choices in the food that we eat, being faithful to eating chitlins, I have no clue what is wrong with you people. There's nothing attractive about a chitlin. Nothing. So, and then we faithful, because I'm going to food. We faithful to, that is super unhealthy. Along with a lot of the foods that we practice eating from a traditional standpoint that our families cook. Now, let me say this. I'm not saying anything is wrong with the Thanksgiving dinner and the Christmas dinner. Let it just be for Thanksgiving and Christmas and maybe another couple of times out the year. We have to stop being faithful to the tradition of cooking all of these unhealthy pots for our families and wonder why so many of our African-American Black people, Black brothers and sisters, ancestors are dying from high blood pressure and all of these other ailments, right? From that came upon us from the way we eat, the food that we eat. We have to stop being faithful to that. We have to stop being faithful to the traditions of a lot of this food that we eat as Black people, because it is not helping us at all. I know many people who have died young because they wouldn't change their diet. My dad being one of them. I remember back in the 90s, it was Black on Black crime was like the number one. It was at the top of the list of killers of black people. Black on black murder. That's what they called it. Black on black homicide was at the top. Was the top reason why so many blacks was dying. Well, during that time, high blood pressure superseded it. It exceeded it. High blood pressure exceeded it. And high blood pressure exceeded it from a standpoint of those unhealthy eating habits that we've been faithful to from a traditional standpoint in our black families. It started catching up with people. And people started, having heart attacks and dying young because of the eating habits. I like to always give part of my testimony. I remember when I first started my healing journey, I went to the doctor and I took care of my entire being, everything, teeth, glasses, you name it, physical, you name it. And I was on blood pressure medication and high cholesterol medication. When I changed my diet, right? When I changed my diet and stopped being traditional with a lot of the food, the fried foods that we fried chicken and all, you name it, a lot of the stuff. My doctor came to me. When my doctor came to me, I was, she had this look on her face that kind of scared me. And she was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because all your electrolytes are in healthy places now. Everything. You're in healthy places now. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And so again, I remember from my own experiences, my own personal experiences, how my health got a whole lot better because of my eating habits. I became faithful, right, to healthier eating habits. I got rid of a whole lot of stuff. Did I go back to it? Absolutely. Health got terrible again, but I'm back now in a place where I'm healthy again. Lost 30-something pounds, doing a whole lot better because I changed my diet. So again, you faithful to it, but is it helping? Is it healthy? Are you growing, or are you getting unhealthier? We got to stop being black people again. We got to stop being faithful to this so-called street code, because the streets, as MC8, this old rapper said, the streets are taking people under. Many of us are dying at young ages because we faithful to the street code. Why don't we be unfaithful to the street code and learn how to live in our greatness? Because I promise you, if you're not living according to the street code and living a life that's not, a law-abiding life, you've already opened up doors for you to be able to walk in your greatness and become whoever you want to be. The street code is a total limit, yet we faithful. It limits us in so many ways, more ways than one, yet we faithful to it.